Big news breaking right now across the board, so let us jump straight into it. First up, we are heading to the lab where Professor Peter Bichet and his dedicated team of mechanical engineering students are completely revolutionizing prosthetic technology. After a nearly decade-long quest to build a better arm, they are finally debuting cutting-edge smart materials and a genius foot-controlled interface that could change the lives of countless users struggling with outdated hardware.
Stop using your finger for notes, sketches, and edits. This Jam Jake stylus pen gives your iPad a smoother, more precise writing feel with palm rejection so your hand can rest naturally on the screen. It charges fast, works for hours, and comes with replacement tips. Perfect for school, work, or creative projects. Check the link in the comments to grab it on Amazon.
Next, we have a major shakeup in the Windy City as the Chicago White Sox front office continues to scramble for pitching solutions. GM Chris Getz is officially promoting Doug Nickhasey to the big leagues to shore up the rotation, hoping this high-spin southpaw can provide the stability the organization desperately needs. We are watching the mound closely to see if he can make a statement during this upcoming weekend series against the Athletics. Shifting gears to the international stage, where Japan is making a massive geopolitical pivot by effectively ditching their long-standing export curbs on defense equipment. With global reliability under the microscope, the cabinet is moving to overhaul the three principles on the transfer of defense equipment and technology, clearing the path for everything from drones for Ukraine to warships for Australia. This is a historic shift that analysts warn will have immediate and far-reaching consequences for the global balance of power. Finally, for all the fantasy baseball managers out there, it is time to sharpen your rosters because the waiver wire is heating up with high-impact talent. Brandon Sproat is grabbing the headlines as a must-watch arm after a major rebound game. But you also need to keep a close eye on the surging performance of Dollander and the potential return of seasoned veterans like Griffin. Make sure you are subscribed and hit that bell icon to stay ahead of the competition every single day. Ever wonder why so many prosthetic arms end up gathering dust in a closet? It's not a lack of technology, it's a design problem. They are often too heavy, too complicated, and just plain frustrating to use. But what if we could change that by rethinking the very anatomy of a robotic limb? Welcome to the Haas Lab at CSUN, where Professor Peter Bichet and a rotating crew of brilliant engineering students have spent the last 9 years on a mission to build a better prosthetic, and they are succeeding in ways that are shaking up the entire industry. It all kicked off in 2017 when Professor Bichet decided to swap out clunky motors for something a bit more elegant. By utilizing shape memory alloys, essentially muscle wires that flex and retract, they created limbs that aren't just lighter, they're closer to human biology. This research is so potent that it's being cited in prestigious journals like Nature Communications. But the real game changer, the controller. Most prosthetics rely on sensors that can be finicky or useless for those without specific muscle groups in their residual limb. Bichet's team flipped the script with a wireless, foot-operated controller. It's simple, it's immediate, and it removes the barrier of entry for so many users. And they didn't stop at hardware. They brought in experts from kinesiology and psychology to tackle the mental side of the transition. They're now building a VR training environment that turns the frustrating process of learning to use a robotic arm into a gamified, stress-free experience. Plus, they're integrating haptic feedback, meaning future users might actually be able to feel the texture of what they're holding. This isn't just a senior design project anymore. It's a multidisciplinary revolution. As student lead Kurt Tricino puts it, this work is about more than just getting an A in class. It's about using engineering to solve real-world human struggles. Seeing these students evolve from undergraduates to industry-ready engineers while pushing the boundaries of AI-generated design is nothing short of inspiring. So, what do you think? Is the future of prosthetics hidden in virtual reality training or in the hardware itself? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories on how technology is changing lives. Innovation doesn't wait for the experts. Sometimes, it starts in a college lab. Ever feel like the Chicago White Sox are just playing a high-stakes game of musical chairs with their bullpen? If you have, you aren't alone. In yet another roster shuffle by GM Chris Getz, the Sox are hitting the reset button again. Just days after calling up lefty Tyler Gilbert, they've sent him packing back to AAA. Honestly, it was a rough outing for Gilbert. Giving up 4 runs in less than 2 innings against Tampa Bay is the kind of stat line that doesn't earn you a permanent locker. But here is where it gets interesting. Filling that void is a name you likely haven't heard before, Doug Nikhazy. If you're scratching your head, don't worry, even die-hard fans might be confused. Nikhazy wasn't even in the White Sox organization a few weeks ago. He was plucked off waivers from the Guardians, a team that barely gave him a cup of coffee at the major league level. His short stint in Cleveland in 2025 was undeniably rocky, but looking at his minor league resume, you can see why the Sox are rolling the dice. He put up a solid 2.98 ERA in 2024 and showed legitimate strikeout potential. Since arriving in Charlotte, he's been efficient, limiting walks and keeping runs off the board, which is exactly what this struggling Sox squad is desperate for. Nikhazy isn't going to blow you away with triple-digit heat, but he plays the game with spin, movement, and a deceptive approach that relies on setting up a sharp changeup and curveball. It's a classic, low-risk, high-reward flyer. Will he be the diamond in the rough this team needs to stabilize their rotation? We might find out as early as this Friday night against the Athletics. It's a tall order for a guy who was just claimed off waivers, but in the chaos of this season, who else are they going to turn to? What do you think, Sox fans? Is Nikhazy just a temporary fix, or could he be a legitimate piece of the puzzle? Let me know your take in the comments, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button to keep up with every twist and turn of this rebuild. After all, when you're looking for answers, sometimes you have to look where no one else is watching. Picture Japan, a nation defined for decades by its pacifist constitution, suddenly becoming a global player in the arms trade. It sounds like an alternate reality, but it is happening right now. Japan is officially shredding its long-standing restrictions on weapon exports, pivoting from a strictly defensive stance to a role as a supplier on the global stage. From drones destined for Ukraine to warships for Australia, the days of the peace-loving island nation staying on the sidelines are coming to a rapid end. The catalyst, a growing anxiety that relying solely on the United States might not be the safety net it used to be. According to recent reports, the Japanese government is set to greenlight major revisions to the 3 principles on the transfer of defense equipment and technology by next week. For context, these principles were locked down back in 1976, effectively creating a total embargo on weapon exports to keep Japan's moral high ground intact. But times have changed. With geopolitical tensions rising across the Indo-Pacific and beyond, Tokyo is prioritizing its own security and its partnerships over legacy restrictions. Of course, they are not just throwing the gates wide open without guardrails. Reports indicate they are building a strict monitoring mechanism to ensure these weapons don't fall into the hands of terrorists or end up in unauthorized third-party countries. Analyst William Yang of the International Crisis Group suggests that this shift is nothing short of seismic, warning that relaxing these rules will have massive, far-reaching consequences for global defense dynamics. Are we witnessing the birth of a new, militarily assertive Japan? I want to hear your take. Is this a necessary evolution for global stability, or a dangerous step away from pacifism? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into the shifting tides of global power. In a world where alliances are being stress-tested daily, perhaps the only thing more dangerous than having too many weapons is having no backup plan at all. Is your rotation falling apart or just waiting for a spark? Week 4 is officially here, and the waiver wire is buzzing with high upside arms that could be the missing piece to your championship run. Let's dive into who you need to prioritize before your league mates beat you to the punch. First up, let's talk about Schultz. His debut against the Rays was a bit of a roller coaster, plenty of command issues resulting in 4 walks, but look past the surface stats. He showed an elite ability to pound the zone with first-pitch strikes. Given his dominant AAA run, where he posted a sub-050 whip, he's a high-ceiling prospect. Keep a close eye on his next start. If he settles in, he's going to be a hot commodity. Then there's Arrighetti. If you didn't grab him yet, you might have missed the boat, but check if he's still hanging around. His 2026 debut was nothing short of electric, 10 strikeouts in 6 innings against the Rockies. He showed flashes of brilliance back in 2024, and it looks like he's finally finding that gear. Just beware of the home run ball, which has been his Achilles heel in the past. Now, for those of you chasing immediate impact, look toward Dollander. After a stellar 5.1 shutout performance, he's trending up fast. With a fastball touching nearly 99 miles per hour and a nasty mix of secondary pitches, he has the pedigree to dominate. He's got a tough schedule ahead with a 2-start week against San Diego and the Mets, but for those who need strikeouts, the volume alone makes him a must-add. I'm also keeping a curious eye on Griffin Foster. At 30 years old, he's a fascinating case of reinventing himself in Japan before making the jump back. He's not going to blow the radar gun away, but his new split-finger delivery has kept hitters off balance. He's a deeper league play, especially with his upcoming starts against Atlanta and the White Sox. On the flip side, we have to talk about Brandon Sproat. After a brutal start to his big league career, he finally showed signs of life against Toronto. However, don't get blinded by one good outing. His track record in the minors is shaky at best, and I'm personally not buying the hype just yet. Proceed with caution. If you're in a pinch, someone like Rhea is a decent plug-and-play for wins, but be careful with those upcoming matchups against the Phillies and Dodgers. Meanwhile, Yesavage is still shaking off the rust. Let him sit on your watch list for another week or two while he builds up his pitch count. Fantasy baseball is won on the margins, and hitting on these waiver wire gems can be the difference between making the playoffs and watching from the sidelines. Who are you putting in your FAAB bids for this week? Let me know in the comments below. Hit that subscribe button for more deep dive analysis, and keep grinding, because that league trophy isn't going to win itself.